What is the spookiest, strangest thing you've ever seen that still scares you? There are a lot of Amish people where I grew up. Late in the summer a few years ago, I took my mom's dog for a walk. Behind her development, there was a road that went downhill and went around a bunch of fields that were finally turned into barns and houses. The road then bent into a place with trees. I felt bad for the dog that she had to stay inside because my mom worked the second shift. I chose to get the dog some exercise by taking it for a long walk. As I began to walk down the hill, a cat came out from behind a house, then another, and more from fields and houses until at least 6 cats were following me along this road. It was strange for the dog to be so calm because she normally spent the night running around my mom's modular home in a circle, jumping over people and couches to make sure she could still run in a circle. I kept going down this road, which went on in front of me for about a mile before it bent around some trees. I heard yelling as the sun was going down. At first I thought it was Amish people just bringing in their animals for the night, but then I saw a pattern and it turned into this strange, hard-to-explain singing or humming. Someone had a drum. Although I was going more slowly, I could hear dogs barking everywhere. After a while, some people came out of their homes and just stared at me. I jumped out of there and ran with the dog all the way up that hill. Cat kept following us until we reached the main road. I never went for a walk that way again. Thanks for the story, man. It really scared me. I'm kind of interested in the supernatural, but I have no idea what this is. In college, I took a class on art and healing, and for my term project, I chose to study Pennsylvania Dutch folk magic. Almost all of the sites I looked into said it wasn't done anymore, but an Amish volunteer I worked with on election tasks said they still did it. But she seemed a little off, so I didn't believe everything she said. I believe I've already written this down. I learned to ride a bike on a typical little kid 2-wheel bike with training wheels when I was a kid. Possibly around 1980. I left it with my friends one night. I didn't mind because I could see it from my window. It was fine when I went to sleep. The houses in the area where we lived were very close to each other. To give you an idea of the time, kids played cattle drives and Indians dressed up as Native Americans for Halloween and watched The Lone Ranger. That night, I had a dream that a Native American wearing a full mask, face paint, moccasins, and other clothes broke my bike's training wheels when they came into my neighbor's yard. The next morning, when I went down to check, the bike's training wheels were broken off. Not just taken away, but broken up, just like in my dream. At the time, I don't think anyone really freaked out about this, but I remember it very clearly for almost 50 years. I learned to ride a bike without new training wheels, so that's a happy finish. When I was 15, my mom died. A few months later, I was home by myself when the phone rang. The caller ID said unknown. When I answered, I heard a woman's voice that is croaky and just plain weird. She greeted me, "Hello, honey. I'm a friend of your dad." Then she told me she was sorry about my mom's death. She said she was sorry. I didn't like anything about her, but I thought I should be nice if it was someone my dad knew. She asked me a few things about myself and my age. Then she said, "Your dad had an affair with me. He loves me." It was really weird that she said my name too. I was shocked and told her, "No, I don't think he'd cheat on Mom." She laughed and said, "Oh, honey, yes, he did. Your mom was a nice lady, but he loved me." She was quiet for a moment and then whispered, "Oh, you don't know who I am? Fuck." I hung up the phone because I was too scared. I haven't told my dad about it and I never will. Jesus the Christ. Even if it were true, who the hell calls a child and tells them their parent has an affair? Having an affair after they knew they had just lost their other parent? It was weird as hell. It happened so long ago that I don't remember everything, but I do remember how crazy she sounded. I was in the attic of my parents' house a long time ago. I fell off the boards and put my foot through the roof. I saw the garage when I looked through the hole I had made. That didn't make sense. Since I was on the other side of the house, I should have been seeing a second-floor hallway with carpet. I looked at what I was seeing for a few minutes and tried to understand it. I finally came to the conclusion that I must have lost my way in the attic. I got off the bed and walked out of my room. The hole in the ceiling was right where it should have been. Hallway on the second floor with rugs. I still don't know what happened after almost 20 years. Did you climb again? Went into the attic to make sure again. I did go back up the next day. It took place on a Friday, and I wanted to take the day off before anyone else did. Everything was fine when I went back up on Saturday afternoon. I looked through the hole and saw that it was the right hallway on the second floor. This time, no cars. Cooler than scary. But when I was younger, we always played hide and seek at night, but in the woods. A girl and a boy about the same age were walking down the road while holding hands. I was hiding in a tree at the time. Dressed in clothes from the early 1920s, they were both very calm and walked like they didn't have anywhere to go. When I told my mom about them and told her about them, she said she saw the same little boy in her room many times as a child. He'd come from her old arm wire and just sit at the end of her bed. I don't know about the little girl, but it was so cool and strange to me even as a kid. It gave me chills to write this, but not in a bad way. They don't seem to be worried about me at all and look very calm. I never saw them again, almost hitting each other head-on 4 times. Every time it was the same song on my radio, not a tape deck, and twice in the same place. It's fine for anyone to call, because I really wouldn't believe it if another person told me. So if all you have to say is hate and doubt, please just post a sad face. Change. The song is Reeling in the Years by Steely Dan, which seems to fit. Most likely no longer listen to that song. I never did it again after the 4th time. I will find any reason to change the radio station, even if I'm in someone else's car. Once someone fought me very hard, so I said, "Let me change the station now and I'll tell you why if you need to hear the whole story." When I was done, the people in the car thanked me. It made me laugh, but I think they were a little scared. Not me, but my dad. He was about 15 years old and was at his mom's house listening to the radio and playing cards. When he opens the door to find his grandfather passed out on the porch railing, he knows right away that he was drunk. This happens a lot. When Grandpa got drunk, he would trip while looking for food. "Your dad is here, Mom." He picked up the cards again. As she wipes her hands on a towel and looks both ways on her porch, his mom is done washing the dishes. "Who did you say was here?" "Your dad, no one is outside." "Are you sure?" "He was there just now. He must have left." She goes back to the kitchen and shuts the door. After a minute, she gets a call telling her that her phone number was found in the wallet of a man in Kentucky who was found dead near the railroad tracks. They talk about the man and what he pulls. She gasps and asks again, "Who did you say was here?" "He had been found dead in another state. Death was caused by drinking too much and not drinking enough water." My dad always says, "I don't believe in ghosts, but I believe in something." I remember seeing cars going through our side yard from my bedroom window when I was about 4 years old. It didn't look like our yard. It looked like a real road, and the cars were so old-fashioned that they looked like they were from the 1940s. It was the 1970s. Our house was in a neighborhood of pretty big lots, and the main street went through a whole different area. Of course, what I saw scared me, so I ran to tell my mom and older sister. They didn't believe me and told me I was either dreaming or making it up. I guess I can't say I blame them. Over the years, my sister would make fun of me for it from time to time. There was something creepy about that part of the yard that made me feel like I shouldn't be there. My grandma came to visit when I was about 12 or 13. When she was little, she told my sister and me that our neighborhood used to be on a farm, and the main road used to go right through our yards. When the farm was broken up into lots for homes, the road had to be moved. I looked at my sister. I could only say, "Yes, I know." Years later, I looked online and found overhead photos and maps that showed the road existed until the 1940s. My grandmother lost the baby before I was born. Let's fast forward to when I was a toddler and my mom was bringing me up the stairs. The wall was covered with pictures of our family. I stop my mom in front of a picture of my grandmother and tell her it's actually of her, to which I respond that she was my mom for a short time. She says it's her mom and not mine. A couple of months later, I rushed into my mom's room at 5 a.m. to wake her up and tell her I had to go see my mom at the graveyard today because it was her birthday. As a child, I had no way of knowing this, but I was right. Nothing what you said has happened since then. Hey man, I've had 2 situations that are kind of the same. My mom lost several babies before and after I was born. That's why she and my dad didn't tell anyone when she got pregnant again. 7th time, and I'm the only one who can say it. She's also a big lady. You wouldn't be able to tell early on that she was pregnant. When I was 3 and she was 1 month pregnant, I put my hands on her belly and told her, "You have a baby growing in there." I had no idea. And I had never talked to them about babies or brothers before. She didn't miss Gary. After 8 months, my little brother was born. Second, we used to pray every night. I would say things like, "God bless Mom and Dad and Grandma." I didn't want to bless all of my family. "God bless Auntie Sue only because she needs all of your blessing." I told my parents when I was about 4 years old. I didn't have a good reason and they mostly ignored it. My aunt called my parents the next day to tell them she had just been told she has breast cancer. She's fine today. Was around 17 years old. A beach house in Brookings, Oregon was owned by my dad's company. Senior workers could sign up and use it for free for a few days or a week. We go there and it's great, just like they said it would be. I decide to go out at night with a friend I had brought with me to drive around town and look around. We took this one road that led down and got about 200 feet down. For background, there were tall bushes on both sides of the road, and trees formed a cover over the road. We made it a little after that. When the car slowed down, the headlights just stopped shining on things. There was a wall of black in front of us. There are no streetlights, house lights, or anything else. As we moved forward a little more, the headlights seemed to stop at this wall of blackness and stop shining on anything beyond or around it. A chill went down both of our spines, and Buddy and I decided it wasn't worth going any further. We moved back, turned around, and walked away. It was completely strange. Even after more than 30 years, if you put a gun to my head, I'd still say that Vanta Black was used to paint a wall. But I don't remember back then. It was really creepy. The next day we went back during the day. Just a normal road. There was nothing that could be measured as a reason for the road and lights to stop working past the point we found the night before. Done looking into it any further for the rest of the trip. After a few days, we went home with a creepy story that made our friends and family look at us funny. I often stayed with my great aunt when I was a little kid. Their house was built in the late 1800s and she lived in it. I mean that this house was old. That's what she called the living room. People bought the basement for its dirt floor. That space could hold so many stories. That's so hard for me to explain. She also had these really old, big framed pictures of people she had loved in the past. Frames made of metal lattice and a glass cover that looks like bubbles. A lot of pictures of babies and family members who are loved and who get sick and die quickly. I used to look at all of them. When I was a kid, I talked with one day. I became friends with everything and everyone, LOL. His hair was combed over and his beard was complicated. His eyes were cloudy and his neck wasn't straight up. I got a chill all of a sudden. When I turned around to look at the picture again after looking over my shoulder, this guy blinked at me. I yelled for my great aunt and told her what I saw. She laughed and said, "Ah yes, our name of man in portrait has always been so lively." Even after he died, he never blinked at me again. But also I swear the lace bonnet of one of the costumed baby portraits would shift differently. Sometimes the lace would be up and perky, and other times it would fold down on the baby's face. It was never bad energy, just lively past relatives. It wasn't creepy when it was happening because I was so young, but when I was very young and shared a bedroom with my little sister, I woke up one night to the sound of puppies whimpering. I looked under my bed and saw two puppies, one black and one brown and white. I woke up my little sister, and the three of us crawled under the bed to play with the puppies. We didn't question where they came from because we were so young. Eventually our dad heard us and yelled through the door to go to bed, so we did. We never saw those puppies again. I asked my sister about this recently and she still remembers it. My sister and I also had a strange experience when we were both very, very young. We both remember crabs coming out of our closet. There were more than one crab, and we were scared and tried to smash them with a book to get out of the room. We do live in a coastal state, but the nearest beach is over an hour away. My mom says this never happened, and my sister and I still remember the book we used to scare off the crabs. We never saw them again after that day, and no one else could get into our second-floor apartment. I was outside with a friend at night, and he was smoking while I was talking. For about 5 or 7 seconds, the sky turned bright blue. It was like blue daylight, and there was a high-pitched ringing sound. We just stared. When it stopped, I asked, "Did you see and hear that?" He said, "Yes, that was all we talked about it." I sent a message. He asked me, "Hey, do you remember that thing we saw?" About 10 years later, when I was sharing scary stories with my friends. "What did you see and hear?" He replied with all the information. All of my friends were scared when I showed them our old text to show that we hadn't set it up and had broken up a long time ago. Most likely it was a rock breaking apart over you. One broke up near where I live a few years ago, and it was a lot like what I went through. The sky was so bright, and there was a sound that sounded like thunder but wasn't thunder. I can definitely see how that could be taken as ringing. I think you are right now that I've looked it up online. It's time to text my old friend again. I believe it's been 8 years since we talked. When I was little and my sister was little, while my mom fed us, we would wave to a building worker through the kitchen window. He always waved and smiled. It was always empty when we waved, so my mom would ask who it was we were at. I remember being mad at her all the time because she always thought we were lying. So often did this happen that I can still remember him, even though it was more than 30 years ago. We didn't find it creepy at the time, but now I think we might have been waving to a ghost. It's likely that the guy who built your house died and was just glad to see a happy family living in it. It's not creepy, but it's still scary. My mom had died a few months before. Around 3 a.m., I woke up. With the living room lights on and the TV turned all the way up. My mom is sitting in my rocker swivel chair when I come out of my room and into the living room. She turned her back on me and knit. All the lights are on and the TV is on full blast. I looked at the time. It was 3:44 a.m. When I turned around, it was dark. No one in the chair but a blanket my mom knit for me. The TV off. I gave up. When did the TV sound stop? There was a moment of shock when I woke up from my dream and saw the time. I was in my living room. My grandmother was working on her sewing machine after my grandfather died. She said that he called her from his chair and said, "It's getting late. You need to go to bed." She told him, "I just want to finish this scene," but when she turned around, he was gone. I'm 8 years younger than my brother. My mom and a babysitter saw a creepy, grinny version of my brother when he was little. It seemed to age with him, and my mom saw him more than once. The babysitter saw him once, and it scared the crap out of her. I saw him when I was in high school. My brother had a lot of jobs and was gone a lot. To help him out and make some extra money, I would clean his room and do his laundry every week. I would usually stay up late on Saturday nights to watch Mad TV and SNL while folding laundry. I started to feel like I was being watched, but my brother was at work and everyone else was asleep. When I turned around, I saw him peeking around the wall of the hallway at me.